Good evening, jabronis. Welcome here to an evening with Mr. Clayfield. That is me, hi, or the Verd, as you might know me. And my first guest is a man who I've known now for, I think, about 2 to 3 years. Shared a lot of good memories with him, and I'd like to say, in the draft community and in life, he is one of my greatest and best friends. Would you prefer, can I say your actual name, or would you prefer just Mastodon?
They got Mastodon. They know the gig. Yeah. However works. Hello, Verd's viewers. I am Mastodon, aka Paul Amedee. That last name may sound familiar, but that's a topic we might touch on.
That's only because they know who Brian is.
That's it, man. That's it.
So basically, what this series is, guys. I was talking to Paul about it the other day. And I said I'd love to do like an interview / podcast style thing where I just talk to draft league and VGC players, and just not only talk about like the formats that they were really good in, but talk about life in general and all this other stuff. And just, you know, Paulo and I have so many good chats that I feel he was just naturally the best pick to go with first. So I mean, first question I guess I'll ask you is probably an obvious one. The time of this being recorded, we did have your brother Graham, who went over to America for the North American International Championship, and he finished second overall. Obviously, like, as a VGC player, you can respect that, but obviously, like, you're his brother, so tell me, like, how you felt going through the weekend.
Bro, like, so the goal for Graham that weekend, for me personally, not his goal, like, my goal was get him to secure that top 64. That got him his day 2 invite, basically. If he got that, he was in, like, no questions asked. So seeing that, staying up till about 6 a.m. because time zones and stuff, like, he was 6-0 before I went to bed, and, like, I was just like, oh, like, you know, just like, wow, like, that's, like, incredible. He's doing so well with this team that he's been running, like, all of Ultra Series that have just taken the US by storm, basically. So yeah, and then the follow-up on day 2, he was 8-1, and then we sort of see him sort of still go all right. He bubbled into cut, being the only 10-4 to bubble into cut, having lost to the same player he lost to day 1 of Switch, which was Melbourne, and he also lost to Ashton and I think one other player who I don't remember the name off the top of my head. So yeah, absolutely, like, just, like, super pumped, like, just seeing that. And then having his game played against Melbourne in top 8 and seeing him pull out, like, the third strategy for what he needed to do to beat Melbourne and getting that 2-0, that sort of breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that he was going to do well against Jonathan Evans. And there's a Twitch clip going around of just one of the plays he made in game 2 where Jonathan pulled a double switch and Graham just took a double KO with high jump kick onto the Incineroar switching in from Rayquaza, and the Lunarium Z move going to Mimikyu swapping in from the Coco. So he was just absolutely on fire. Like, and just like at home, I was just going nuts, because like, you see him do this like at locals, but like seeing it like up on that big screen against those big players, like, it's just like, it's speechless, man. Like, it's so hard to just put it all into words. Like, it's absolutely outstanding, and like the commentary was going nuts and everything as well. So yeah, it was like it's just insane. Like, I honestly can't believe it. He's done so well at that event.
For sure. So obviously, I guess maybe we can talk a bit more about VGC, because you were actually the person I think that got me into VGC in the first place. We both met obviously during Draft League, and then I can't remember when exactly it was, but it was around Moon Series, and you know, asked if I wanted to join you guys over in Melbourne, because the IC, the Oceania International Championships. That was back in like February. Yeah, and like obviously I was hooked after that. But I guess for the people to understand, because compared to your brother Graham, you've actually had a much longer history with VGC in general.
A little bit, yeah, actually.
Would you maybe like
Did you want me to...
Yeah, give everybody a bit of an insight into your VGC journey.
Okay, so most of it started out. I was a singles player for a while up until 2013. Then we sort of just had this event pop up out of nowhere, going like, it's like a Brisbane regional, and it was like under like Nintendo and stuff, and it was just like, this is kind of interesting. So I got my feeling from another local player. A lot of people know him, like Phil Newen, Boob Guy. Like he's probably one of the other big names in the Brisbane local scene. So we were mates for like a little bit prior to that, and he sort of just like explained it and all that. We threw together a team. Phil knocked me out of that tournament because he just made a good call one turn, and that's what happens in best of ones. Like if you get called out once and like you just fall too far behind where you just can't bring it back. So yeah, back in 2013, where it's sort of just like, that's where the transition started from singles to doubles. And then, well, excluding Draft League, of course. And then like X and Y sort of came. And then we sort of had our regionals. We started getting a lot more local events. And then we sort of had like the nationals back in 2014. And I'm going to tell you the story of the nationals line in 2014. So normally like the doors open at like 8, and they were wanting to have people in by like 10 to start at like 10:30. We didn't start till like 12:30.
Far out. There was that many people in line.
The line was like down the block. Like it was actually insane. We were afraid that like our regional champ wasn't able to get in because he rocked up a little late. So like we had our concerns for like someone who got like paid to come down, like won't be attending the event. But it all went through and all that, and that's sort of like the starting point of where like you slowly sort of just like meeting people who are like outside of your region. Well, for me at least, and for a lot of the other Brisbane players as well. So yeah, that was 2014. That was like all fun and stuff. 2015, I saw Graham and Brian. They were on Showdown, because I know the Showdown screen when I see it. Like, it's so iconic to Pokemon players at this point. They were playing Battlespot singles. And I looked at them and said, nah, don't do that. Like, play this instead. You can actually go to events and, like, smash up and stuff. So, yeah, that's basically what they did. And yeah, then basically, like, between that, it's sort of just, like, building up our local scene. And then building up our national, like, the national, like, interstate players. So, like, you've got, like, all, like, your Melbourne players, your Sydney players and all that. We've all sort of just, like, come together and sort of just, like, known each other now. So we're, like, for the most part, one big Australian family, so to speak. So, just that in a couple of years is really, really good. And a lot of people are, like, really good to each other. Like, you know, we hang out and all that. So, pardon me. That's basically it. Like, it started out the switch between 2013 to 2014, basically from Gen 5 to Gen 6. And then it's just been through there. Like, naturally, like, I've enjoyed playing the game. I enjoy, like, getting wins if I can. But, like, recently sort of just, like, haven't put in the time and effort that has been needed to, like, really, like, get in front. Where you see Graham's done the opposite. Like, he's been committed. He's been, like, constantly, like, trying out and testing stuff. So,
we've talked about in the past as well that you've considered making the transition from player into judge
yes.
for events and whatnot. Is that still something that is in the back of your mind that you would potentially like to pursue?
Absolutely. Like, Sheldon is our local judge. He is probably one of the greatest people I have met throughout the Pokemon journey. Like, if it wasn't for him, Brisbane we get none of our events. Like, he does it all, and anything to help him is super key. Especially with, like, over the past couple of years, like, motivation to play personally has been a little bit down, but, like, wanting to give back, like, and still help out that community is still just, like, a big thing to do. So, like, investing in something like that is something I do still want to do, especially if Sword and Shield feels like a flop. Like, if I personally don't enjoy it, be happy just to like really hammer down into the judging side of things.
For sure. So we were talking about the VGC community, who I've now got to know quite well through, you know, the trip to Melbourne and then the trip to Sydney, which obviously happened recently in, was it May? In the Sydney region was?
Yeah, bro, yeah.
So, obviously I'm sure it's evolved over time, but in general speaking, how do you feel the Australian VGC community is shaping up right now?
With, like, it used to be really strong, but that's because events used to be free. And with like with the need to like pay to enter events, normally it's like relatively big bucks for like high level events. The numbers do tend to dip from a lot of people that just want to play sort of casual. So we're still gonna have like those players there, but we really want to like try and sort of like boost those numbers as much as possible. Like it's sort of like it's a scene that exists, and it's like we're slowly getting like people come in and people come out, but like I don't think there's any real massive like sort of a change where we've just like huge numbers just dip or just like low numbers just skyrocket sort of a thing.
Well, given, I guess, now that we know I believe it's 8 participants from Australia that are going to Day 2 of Worlds.
Yeah.
Given,
the 8 in the Oceanic region.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
given that, and the quality of the players there, how do you feel about the chances of there being a person from Oceania who, you know, performs not only like incredibly well at Worlds or could potentially win the entire thing?
I think I'd have to pull up the list of people, but I know at least half of them could definitely have a solid like top 16 or top 8 finish, like no questions asked. Like I feel like the skill level of those players is good enough to do it. Like the job is basically just like getting it done. Like, Graham was the prime example, like coming second at NA, losing to like Wolf, who's like a very well-known, very like high-respected player in a regard to a lot of people. So yeah, it's just stuff like that, and like Wolf's won a world championship before, and like so it's up there. It's just making sure they play the game right, the nerves don't get to them, and well, I mean luck's always a factor as well. So if all that sort of just like gets checked in bay and they just play well, like they've like a lot of them have like big chances to do really well.
Yeah, I'm definitely hyped to see how it goes and potentially chat with a few more players heading into Worlds. Maybe some of them that are actually going to end up going. But I mean, you and I will probably be staying up until crazy hours of the day to watch it. I actually don't even know where Worlds is this year.
It's in DC, and I'm traveling with Graham.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yeah, so Masto's going to be over there. He'll give us his inside scoop.
Yeah, you sure?
So I guess moving on from VGC, because I mean I'm honestly really happy that you did show me VGC though, because obviously I'm still learning a lot. Like just because I've been to an IC and a regional, now competing in one, I know there's still a lot about the game I have to learn. Probably the biggest mechanic that I'm still learning is just the best of 3, where I made a team for Sydney that I was really happy with, that Masto and I actually worked on together, which had Greninja, but the problem with the Greninja set was it was really good in a best of 1, but then once people knew what the set did, it was very easy to nullify in future games, compared to a Pokemon set like with Graham. He had Mega Metacham, which, you know, doesn't give away every single strategy in one game, and it's still the factor like of, you know, high jump kick at -1 being able to Oko Incineroar. I think even at -2 it probably Oko Incineroar.
-2 took the Oko and Incineroar.
Like crazy things like that, and you know, things where no matter how well you prep, it's a constant threat. Whereas once you kind of know a certain set, it like kind of lessens the threat. So that was definitely a learning curve for me, and something I guess that I've learned through Draft League, which I guess we can move on to, since that's actually where we first met. So Masto and I, back in, I think it was season 3 of the PMC.
That was the first time like we finished out a season and like really sort of got to be like, hey, we're both Aussies. Like, I remember like we met on a league. It was in Skype. Oh my god, I think it was
Skype.
I think it was World Pokemon Federation. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, WPF.
Yeah, they brought me to that, and like that ended sort of like 4 weeks after it started. So I was just like, oh, whatever. And yeah, so eventually they got me onto PMC, and that's basically where things sort of took off.
So yeah, heading into that third season, I had just come off winning season 2, and so like obviously I was brimming with confidence. I saw another Australian, and I was like, hell yeah! And it was for some reason a season where they just gave us really broken stuff. Like I had Speed Boost regular Blaziken with access to Z moves, and you had Genesect. So
Genesect also had access to Z moves. So.
It was just very, very stupid. The fact that they allowed these things was dumb.
Yeah, it was insane.
And unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to play each other during regular season, and didn't get a chance in playoffs because I got hacked out by our good friend Sharpie.
Someone traded away their Zapdos.
Yeah, it could have been me. It was funny though, because Zapdos like 6-0'd his team when I played him earlier in the season, and I just traded him away and then got wrecked. I don't know. I was going through one of my phases of not being super into Draft League anymore, but I guess so. Draft, I find like with you, I guess it's in a similar ballpark right now to VGC, where you're kind of on the fence and you're waiting to see maybe if there's some new things in Sword and Shield that can make it worthwhile to explore Draft again. Because I mean, I know you're a part of the Stab League still. I don't know if you're still a part of the PMC or anything like that.
Oh no. PMC sort of just went on that massive like downhill decline, and like I just pulled the plug.
So I guess what I'm curious, and I guess the people listening are curious about, is where do you stand right now when it comes to Draft League?
I would play it like I wouldn't play to win. I'd play to more just enjoy myself, because it's fun. Like the funnest part of entering a draft league is drafting your team. Like the funnest part is like drafting, and then like I guess it's probably like for me it's like drafting, battling, and building. I hate building because like there's so much to like take into account sometimes.
See, we're opposite there, because you know I love to build. I can't battle to save my life. Like it's so silly, because I'm the same with VGC. Like you and I are both very meticulous when it comes to team building in VGC because of how important it is. And so I understood that very early on. Like you showed me the ways of EVs, and I understood how to set them up properly. But then when I get into battles, I would design things perfectly to do a certain thing, but then for some reason my mum would just go blank, and I wouldn't do that certain plan. I'd find that with Draft League too, where I design these really fun, cool sets in team builder that do so many different things, and then I get into the game and I pussy out on doing the thing, and then it like costs me the game. So I guess in your sense though, what you were quite good at is you never, like every now and then you come up with some crazy sets. Like we will get to Scarf Lantern, but,
I knew that was coming eventually.
But I think what you were just very good at is just making the correct battle choices, and you show that a lot as well. Like when we're watching VGC, like when we're watching over the the national championship, you were able to read the play really well, and you knew what moves people should do in those situations. So I find that to be one of your strengths. And I guess, so you think that your weakness, I suppose, in draft was trying to build the teams?
Generally, yeah. I'd have like ideas that I'd want to run, but like there was better stuff. There was like 9 times out of 10 there's better stuff to run. So like thankfully, like meeting the people in that community, like they sort of helped patch that for me. Which is why, like, yeah, basically.
If we ever needed help with the team, James Black or the Flying Bird, he would help us out.
I would have like just finished drafting my team, and he'd be like, right, send week 1 matchup, we're building. I was like, all right. He was very keen to it as well, but he's very good and he's very smart about it too.
So how with regards to draft format, because like you said with VGC, you want to see how things go with Sword and Shield as to whether you still pursue VGC or if you go into that realm of judging. Is it kind of similar with draft format? You want to just kind of see how Sword and Shield turns out and how impactful Draft League is from that, to see if maybe, not necessarily taking things competitively, but being a part of a few draft leagues. Because I know you kind of commission the one that's in the Buzzwells chat, and you kind of commission almost the Stab League one as well. So can we expect more competitive content from you if Sword and Shield is successful?
Like the biggest thing for draft leagues in terms of like Sword and Shield actually playing on the Switch is having enough Pokemon in the decks. Because like if there's stuff like you're gonna have to go through a whole thing of like retiering mons just in the Gala decks, and then like that's gonna be like an issue in itself, because like you know how much draft players disagree on placements of mons.
We had that issue with Sun and Moon when it first came out.
Yeah, so there'll be that comes out, and like basically you just take that and just take away like a chunk of the decks. Like, is there going to be enough viable stuff for like 16 teams? So like we're going to have to start running like leagues of like 8 because of just how restricted it all is. So that probably is the biggest thing that'll impact on whether it gets played or not. But I mean, I'd still definitely give it a shot, because I mean, like, it's one game a week, realistically, and I'd still think I'd have the time to do that. Still kind of enjoy it. Like, it's good just to play mons.
I'm really just hoping it doesn't turn out like Let's Go, but there's only a finite amount. Like, obviously Let's Go only had the, 150 odd Pokemon. Like, obviously they added Mega Evolution, so it wasn't like there was that, but other than that, it was kind of like people weren't super keen on it. So hopefully there's a bit more depth in Sword and Shield, and maybe I'm hoping there's some way where maybe during the regular game you can't access all the mons, but then there's something like, back in Diamond and Pearl, like Power Park or something like that, where you're able to transfer Pokemon across. I'm sure they'll do something like that along the lines at some point.
I feel like that's what they're doing with Pokemon Home, where like that's just a big hub where you can just transfer stuff from like Let's Go, from like Pokemon Go, from like Sun and Moon and stuff, like all to there, and then you can just send it to Sword and Shield. But like you can still send Sword and Shield mons like in there. I feel like
I hope so. Yeah.
I feel like that's what the idea of that is. That would probably make like the most sense. But I think they wouldn't have everything like good to ship off for it until like everything was like able to be like used in Sword and Shield.
Now, given what we know so far about Sword and Shield, are you necessarily looking forward to the game right now? Has it piqued your interest yet?
Not really. Like, I'd pick it up and I'd play it because my boy Grookey. But I mean, there's not much that's really sort of like taking my eye, sort of a thing. Like, it hasn't been like the most sort of like this is a must get. Like, it's sort of just it just feels like just another Mons game, where I feel like if there was like a little more like just a little bit more drive behind it, because like they've got it on the Switch. Like, the Switch is like much more powerful than like any sort of console. But like, you can see like a lot of the stuff. It's like, it seems like kind of minor, just like some move animations and like some Pokemon animations and stuff. Where you look at it on like Battle Revolution, they're like active models, and they're like actively like doing like when Blastoise uses Hydro Pump, he actually like pulls out the cannons and just shoots. But I feel like they'd probably just do what they've been doing in like Sun and Moon and port that over to Sword and Shield in terms of that. And like with a console that strong, like I feel like you could do a little more.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they actually do. I mean, we're going to get more information. I think there's going to be another thing, hopefully soon-ish. I mean, we're waiting until November for the game to come out, so there'll be at least 1 or 2 more trailers, I would expect. for
There
the
will be
game.
there'll be a big drop at Worlds as well. They like to drop stuff like that at Worlds for like new games.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what they've got for that. But kind of want to take things maybe a little bit away from Pokemon for a sec.
Yep.
So obviously, everyone knows the side of you through Pokemon. They're aware of, well, people who hopefully know me should know you. We're at that point now where I think we're like that. So obviously they know of your draft exploits and your VGC, how you're very much in the community and a very well-known name. But I guess what's life like outside of Pokemon? Because this is the big thing, is that I feel with our channels and other stuff, and when people see on Twitch and that, they're seeing like one part of us, which is like the gaming part, but there's this whole other side that they don't see until like you turn off the recording camera, or you close the computer, and then you go from being the Mastodon to being Paul Amedee. So what's life like outside of Pokemon?
I don't know. Like, it's sort of pretty chill. Like, I mean, I just go and do my thing, just like every other like ordinary person, really. Like, I mean, yeah, like I just I just do more. I just work my hours. It's like slave for the pigs, of course.
Bloody pigs.
Like.
But
other than that, like, it really isn't that much. Like, I don't often like go out to like movies and stuff because like I don't generally like to watch them, because like for forms of entertainment I like watching like just random YouTube clips of stuff and like streams and stuff, because I find them like much more entertaining than what like a lot of TV has to offer. If I'm around for it, I'll sit down and like I'll watch footy, or I'll watch like a random Olympics event if it's on or something like that. Because I used to be like a fairly big sports fan, and like I used to do a lot of sports like as a youngin. Like the Amedee family was just like we were big on swimming. Like we basically started at like 6th month and just like get in the pool and just be taught like how to swim. Because I think it's probably one of the more important things you could learn is just like learn how to swim.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's like just like your soccer, your footy. But like a lot of that sort of just like died off once like I sort of hit uni, but like wasn't really feeling uni, so I mostly just like work a bunch of days a week. Other than that, I just chillax and just like to be myself. Like that's it. That's it really.
Do you find yourself though having aspirations to achieve anything in particular? Like, are there any dreams or whatnot?
Not like too much outside of just keeping myself in like just a good mind state and a good like health state. Nothing really too much. Like, as long as I'm looking after myself, getting through the day by day, that's probably always going to be like the main goal. Like, if something sort of just like clicks one day saying I want to do that, it'll be the shift just going like, this is what we want to do, we want to get it done. But at the moment, not too much, not really much to really strive for.
Well, you talk about health, and we were having a chat about this before we even started the interview, about like a challenge we're going to put to each other, where it's the first one of us to lose 20 kilos. So right now I'm currently about 98, and you're currently about 100 and... what'd you say?
Around 150.
150. So, like, realistically, science would prove that you've got a much better chance of dropping that weight before I do. Yeah. But obviously the question is, like, you have to be very committed, you have to, eat properly, exercise, all these little things to lose the weight. And as you're saying, you're always trying to put yourself in a good mindset. So do you feel like, if you were set this challenge of losing the 20 kilos, do you feel right now in the mindset that you have that you'd be able to achieve that?
let's just say you're gonna owe me a slab of beer.
I hope so, man. I hope so, because I want to see you do it. Obviously, I want to lose the weight as well.
Yeah.
And it's good having. I find it as healthy competition, literally healthy competition.
That's it. That's it.
We both want to achieve something good, but by challenging each other and trying to get there, then it pushes us more to achieve it. Like you can, at the end of the week, we can be like, I lost this much, and you'd be like, well, I lost this much, and you're like, oh shit, maybe I have to work harder to catch up. And so it drives you, and that's what I like about the draft and VGC community, especially like with you and I. We were never out there to try and beat each other. We were always out there to like compete, but to see both of us still do well. It was like, you know, Masto and I would go from league to league, and you know, I'm sure in the future VGC event to VGC event, and it wasn't about us ever clashing. Like the only time we ever said we wanted to play each other was if we play each other in finals. Like it was grand final or bust. And I feel like that's the same in life. Is that I wouldn't I wouldn't want to compete with you and try and beat you. I just want us both to get to the finish line. And if we could run over at the same time, then that would be ideal.
That's it.
You know
that's it. 100%.
And I think that's something that a lot of people need to understand, I guess, with life. Because obviously we are real people outside of Pokemon. And it's that thing that with Paulo and I, like, we joke about Pokemon all the time. Like, we record a lot of funny videos taking the piss with Pokemon, but in real life, we are actually quite good friends. Like, 2 times now. I met him 3 times because I went up to Brisbane once for a wedding and saw him there too. And it's one of those things where if I was in a position where I felt comfortable to leave my current job and fly over to Brisbane, and like you and I found a townhouse, I would do that. 110%. Wouldn't even be a doubt in my mind. If I was in that positioning, I would. And this is the big thing, I guess, with our community, whether it be with Draft League or VGC, both of which I guess in the past have been deemed toxic. But I mean, that's just a perception of people when they see the negative things that happen that always get aired out like dirty laundry. But people just...
The negative things always surface.
And the thing is, people just don't see all the good things. And that's why I try and record not only stuff like this that we're doing right now, chatting, but then also the fun games and stuff we do with the laddering, the Scriblio, all this other stuff where you get to see this different side of people, where all you've seen potentially maybe is like the super competitive people, and you know, the Graham who is incredibly awkward at interviews saying he likes to kill things. And like in real life, he doesn't talk like that. Like he's very down to earth, like this lovely, amazing guy. And you know, I'm hoping that this series in the future, with all the people that I get the chance to interview, it gives you guys this kind of sense that like everyone's human. Everyone, you know, has lives outside of Pokemon, but we're all brought together by a children's game, more or less,
basically,
in a way. But I mean, I honestly am out of questions now, Masto. So if there's anything else maybe that you would like to say or talk about, feel free. The floor is yours at this point.
Sweet. So, my YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter will be in the description. Please make sure to go and follow and sub and stuff. I will extend the courtesy of doing it back. So, there you go. We're trade for trade.
I feel like he's also doing this on purpose because I forgot to link.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely will put all of Masto's links in the description. Because you guys should check him out. Like, his YouTube channel is heavily underrated. Definitely deserves more subs. It is dying a bit because you're not doing the draft. Honestly, just start posting like the random showdown stuff and record the Scriblio stuff too, man. Like, it's honestly really good content. People enjoy it, and you can edit it so it becomes really funny. Like, it. Honestly, I think you'd enjoy doing that because I've really enjoyed having the chance to just sit down and have this this chat with you. It honestly doesn't even feel like anything different from what we normally chat about, only maybe we'd be a bit less formal. We're being incredibly formal compared to how we normally are, but this is an evening with Mr. Clayfield. You know, we need to show some class.
Yeah. Father Clayfield.
That's true.
But
I am the daddy dingo.
so you gotta show the man respect.
That's right. I think that's going to do it for this interview, guys. If you did enjoy, obviously, liking the video would be awesome. Commenting down below about maybe some other people who are within the VGC or draft community you'd like to see going on this. I know that I'm not expecting this series to take off astronomically, but I would hope that it gives the people watching a chance to kind of get a deeper insight into players and the format itself, and not just, you know, see it through smoke and mirrors. That would be the ideal thing. But thank you again, Masto, for joining me here on this very first episode. I will make sure that your links are in the description, and if I don't do it, I will allow you to hit me once with a large stick in the penis.
Oh, harsh. You don't want that.
No, I don't. So, I think that'll do it, guys. I do already have my next guest lined up ready for my next episode, but I'm not going to reveal who that is yet. For now, again, thank you, Masto. Anything you would like to say just before we close this completely off?
I don't think so.
All right.
I'm gonna say that, and then as soon as it closes off, I'll be like, oh fuck, I wanted to say it. That's always the case. But
It always is, man. Now that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you.
Actually.
Yes. Okay.
If the people are watching and they're looking for people at this point in time to have someone join a draft league, hit your boy up, because at the moment I've only really got myself committed to Stab League, and I don't think MPL is picking up anytime soon for minors.
Would you?
So, yeah.
So you want to do like one more Ultra Sun and Moon draft league before Sword and Shield comes out, pretty much?
Yeah, I'd happily pick up one more.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it out there so that people know what's going on. Because this video will probably get uploaded probably tomorrow night.
I promise you I'm not hard to schedule with, despite being Australian. I
know.
promise.
Why is that such a why is that such a misconception? I actually want to talk about this before we end the interview. So there's this misconception that Australians are the hardest people to schedule with for battles, and that is a load of bullshit. The amount of times that we sacrifice our days to try and make things work. Master, can you tell them about that game against that guy where how did you stay up the entire night, or did you wake up early? I can't remember.
Oh, there were like several occasions where I got up at like 5 AM to be like, all right, I'm ready to play, and they were just no show. Like they do it on like 2 occasions on my Sunday.
That was the PMC one, wasn't it?
That was PMC. There've been a few other times where like sometimes like I'm gonna say this man out loud, but like it's not like disrespectful or anything. Like me trying to schedule with Johnny GB is an absolute nightmare. Our schedules just never clash.
Yeah.
So like normally it's like we're gonna be playing at like a really awkward time, like for one of us, or like have someone like fill in for one another. But like stuff like that is like extremely rare.
It's
But,
so
like,
yeah. I just find it super annoying because with Americans, there's normally 2 times that you choose when you're going to play an American. You're either choosing really late at night in Australia, so like when I'm saying late at night, like your 11 o'clocks, which is like relatively most Americans' mornings, so they can wake up and play. And that's cool by us, because normally on a weekend we don't mind staying up late anyway, we can play the game, it's whatever. And the alternative is us getting up early to play you guys at your nighttime, and that's the one that grinds our gears, because us staying up later at night is not an issue. Us getting up early in the morning, that's an issue. Because when we stay up late at night, we're doing that so that we can play at like almost midday for Americans. Whereas I find that Americans don't really give us the same courtesy. They're like, you know, they want to play at a very specific time of night, which might end up being like, you know, like you said, 5 AM for you, Masto. So it can be super frustrating in that light. So I don't know why Australians get the bad rap when realistically it's... Honestly, I find the Americans are actually harder to... Like, Europeans aren't too bad. I find the European time...
I haven't had an issue with any of the Europeans.
Like, Rogue was fine when I played him.
Rogue was amazing. And Rogue was like, do you want to play at like 11 AM your time? I'm like, yes.
Whereas, yeah, Americans just, I don't think they understand the concept of time. Or it's just, they get very thrown off by the time zones. And
Probably.
it's that was just a little bit of a rant, but I just hate when people think that Australians are the ones that are hard to book with. We try so hard to be accommodating. You have no fucking idea. I'll get Gypsy on one of these at some point, and he'll tell you how accommodating we are to these people and how they treat us. It's bloody discrimination. I'm sick of it.
And if we don't make like the one time period, like you'll expect to receive like a block paragraph in that Discord going, "Oh, fucking Australians not being able to do this and stuff," and like,
yeah,
you know,
it's very frustrating when they also like, yeah, oh mate. Anyway, that is actually going to do it. We are going to leave it there, or else we're going to just randomly come up with ideas and talk about them for 2 hours straight. So, thank you again for joining me, Masto. I'll still be uploading all my other content of like other stuff with Masto. Like we've recorded some Showdown lives. We got more Scriblio stuff like that. We might even try and do I don't know like some Mario Kart or Smash in the future as well for videos because I do have the Elgato, so I could. Record.
I can also record Switch content.
So we could. That's another dude, Masto. You should just do that. Get us to do like a bunch of Smash free for alls with Bucko and others, and just record some of that stuff because you enjoy doing that.
I probably could. I was gonna organize like a Mario Kart thing because that's something that's pretty easy on the on the internet to sort of just like. Do it all just like seamlessly.
Well, we'll add that in the comments if there's any things that you guys would like to see Masto do on his channel, and I guess also for my channel as well. Please let us know because we are pretty open with things. We also don't want it to be just like draft format and VGC. We enjoy playing, you know, a whole bunch of other games. Like we really enjoy Scriblio with the Pokemon edition. We like Mario Kart. We like Smash. Yeah, just hit us up with ideas, but. Okay, enough. We're done. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.